Hi, today I want to talk to you about something I think you may really enjoy, and that's coffee. In fact, upwards of 200 million Americans consume coffee on a daily basis. Hi, I'm Dr. Joe from the Southside Health and Wellness Campus. Today, talking about coffee, I have a very important question to ask you. Is it good for you? Now, I hope it is, because upwards of 200 million people consume it on a daily basis. Or is it bad? Bringing frowns to people throughout America. What's it doing to your body? Now, I'm going to answer this not with just my opinions, but with some really important information and some scientific backed information. But before I do, one final question. Do you like coffee? And if you do, please leave a comment in the section below that you like, you love, you absolutely can't stand being away from coffee for any length of time. And definitely give us a thumbs up or a like of some sorts, because if everybody out there that likes coffee does that, we're going to have 200 million likes by the end of this video. All right, let's get started. All right, many benefits, many claims out there for the fantastic benefits of it, and many for the detriments of it. In fact, I went to healthline.com and searched, abundantly, and there's basically evidence on one side saying it's beneficial and the other side saying it's detrimental from the same sites. Okay, well, let's get started and find out what's being said about this, and much of which is scientifically backed. You can go ahead and look at all the information out there on these sites. More energy. Of course, people consume that in the morning to get out of bed and get going through the day. Tons of energy from it. Makes you smarter, more alert. A lot of people feel like they can't even really function without it, but there's lots of science to say that you're actually mentally smarter from consuming it on a day-to-day basis. Boost your metabolism. So a lot of people are constantly trying to lose weight and keep that energy going, so they want to have a fantastic metabolism, and coffee can help with that in many cases. Sports and life performance in general. So a lot of athletes use that before they train, they'll use coffee, and just general day-to-day performance. So of course that's a fantastic benefit that we could have. Essential nutrients and antioxidants that are actually in the coffee beans themselves. So that's really important to understand that there are nutrients in coffee, so people will build that up in their body if they consume it. Many claims of it assisting with diabetes, Parkinson's, and dementia, so those mental disorders as well as blood sugar handling disorders, by consuming coffee on a day-to-day basis. Protecting your liver, a very important organ. So there's a lot of information out there that says it actually helps to support your liver in functioning better on a daily basis. Makes you happier. Well, a lot of people, when they consume that coffee, it brings a smile to their face during the cup of coffee, but many studies actually claim that it will actually keep you happier on a day-to-day basis as well, because it has certain benefits to the hormones produced in your body. Lowers risk of cancer and heart disease. Now, the number 2 and number 1, deaths, occurrence in the United States alone. So if it can help with that, that'd be a phenomenal benefit. And longevity. So it actually may help people live longer as a result of it as well. So these are all the claims of benefits. Let's look on the flip side what the science is showing over there. So many claim that it actually contributes to fatigue when they consume too much coffee. So that's not a good thing. So energy over here, fatigue over there, little conflict already. Anxiety. So in the way that it helps to make people smarter, it actually helps to release a hormone called adrenaline. And in doing that, in many people's cases, it can create a fidgety feeling or anxiety from consuming that. So that could be a bad thing. Okay? Insomnia. So as it boosts your metabolism, gets things revved up, it's going to have some people not having the ability to sleep real well. Now, there's others that can consume it right before bed, fall asleep, no problems. But many people claim having it after a certain period of time during the day, major insomnia from that. Muscle breakdown. So that definitely would not be a very sports performing thing, but there's actually conditions leading to breakdown of muscles from consumption of too much coffee. All right, other studies, this is not directly from the cited source up here on Healthline, but it actually depletes vitamins and minerals. I see that all over the place with lots of other sites saying that, whereas here it's saying it's got essential nutrients and antioxidants in the bean. Now, why would that be? We'll find out in a minute. Now, digestive problems, GERD, which is gastroesophageal reflux disorder, and it's very acidic, so a lot of people have reflux and things like that, or excessively loose stool as a result of it, because it has that laxative effect, versus helping with conditions in other ways. Very confusing. Now, protects your liver over here, burdens your liver over here. Now, that's a total conflict, but there's science on both sides of it. Making you happier over here, but many people feel like they're addicted or they're dependent or very stressed out when they don't have their coffee. So that's not a very happy state over there. Now, high blood pressure, rapid heart rate, fibrillation, and other stressors, come about, from too much coffee over here, and then lowering risk of cancer and, heart disease over here. Total conflict again. And then last, we got longevity, but over here, because of the frequent urination, because it actually causes excessive urination when consuming, because it's a diuretic, dehydrates and causes people to look aged in many cases. So they may live longer, but they may look older as a result of consuming it. So what's a person to believe? Now, I've gone through tons of information, much more than what's up here, and I broke it down into 3 things that you can help to understand if coffee is going to be a benefit or a detriment to you. All right, quantity. All right, do you consume 1 cup? 2 cups, a couple pots, or a coffee IV that you need stuck in you all day long? All right, now that's a huge thing because the quantity has a lot to do with it. Why is that? Because it's very dehydrating when you consume too much of it. For every cup of coffee that you consume, you should really drink 2 cups of water to counteract the dehydrating effects of that. And if you do, then you will basically replenish for the effects on the skin, the muscles, the joints, the organs that would dry out as a result of excessive amounts of that. If you're getting into 2 pots a day or more, major issues. And many people, if it's above 2 cups for sure, they're going to have issues with dehydration because you can't consume enough to rehydrate your body. And with the excessive amount of urination, you're going to deplete vitamins and minerals. So that effect will occur. So it may have vitamins and minerals in it, but you're going to deplete other, especially minerals, as a result of it. And many people actually will have premature graying when they consume large amounts of coffee because it strips tons of minerals from their body, and you can see that in their hair. So excessive adrenaline produced, so that's the part that makes you smarter. Well, excessive amounts of it from too much puts a major burden on the adrenals and the nervous system, thus causing that feeling of anxiety. So you don't want that. And it can, because of the excessive amounts of that adrenaline being produced and other effects, cause liver stress, heart stress, pancreas stress, the thing that's supposed to be helped by its consumption in one article, and major digestive issues. A lot of people that have reflux and stuff, when they consume it, the acids of the coffee will totally tear them up. We're going to talk about that in a moment as to why maybe that's not exactly the coffee's fault, but let's figure it out. So there's the quality of the coffee is a huge part of it. So this is where I think a lot of people have much more impact from just the choices they make on a day-to-day basis as to which type they're getting. There's toxins and carcinogenic, which means cancer-causing things, in many coffee beans, okay? Because there's lots of pesticides and other chemicals that these things are exposed to. Pesticides contribute also to hormone disruption. So believe it or not, coffee beans are many researchers will say, the most sprayed food source that anybody consumes. And think of it this way. When you are basically going to be grinding that coffee bean and putting it in any type of mechanism that you're going to use to basically make the coffee, you're putting hot boiling water through that. So if there's chemicals in that, that's going right into the coffee, that water that you're consuming, and basically there's measurable residual limits that some foods actually have on them. Coffee does not have that. So the United States does not actually restrict the amount of measurable residuals, limited in those coffee beans. So when you're consuming, you can have large amounts of toxins in your system. And also the way that it's produced as well as stored, mold and mycotoxins, toxins from the actual mold spores, can actually build up in it. So what can affect the quality? Well, if it's organic versus non-organic. So here's an actual great website. If you want to take a screenshot of it now, I'd recommend doing that. It talks about 42 different chemical compounds found in coffee, and there's many more in different parts of the world, because a lot of people like these from exotic parts of the world, but many of them have very poor standards in terms of what they can spray or not. And there's estimates of upwards of 250 pounds of chemicals sprayed on 1 acre of coffee beans. That's a massive amount, and that's consumed right into the liquid that you're actually consuming. So if it's organic, it will not have that. So I recommend, if you are going to drink coffee in your house and brew your own, absolutely, whenever possible, buy organic coffee beans. This is one of the best and most simple recommendations I can give you. Yes, it may cost $2, $3, $5 more, but the amount of savings in your health and benefit to you is immeasurable. Versus non-organic beans, they're going to be sprayed in ways that can contribute and build up over a lifetime and have massive detriment to your health. So please buy organic beans. Processed. Now, how is it processed? Now, all coffee beans have to be ground at some point, okay? So do you buy the whole beans? Well, that's the best way to do it. If you can buy them, freshly roasted and the whole beans and keep it in an airtight container, fantastic. Then grind it with a coffee grinder right before you put it in whatever mechanism you're going to use to make it, and that's the best way. The oils remain in good health and it doesn't start to go rancid. Those oils can actually go rancid over time, and it's absolutely the best way. So if you buy it ground, ground. The challenge is it's starting to break down instantly at the grinding source. So it's in a bag, maybe keeping some of that air out of the bag, but unfortunately it starts to break down real quick, and definitely any nutrients in it start to break down as well. If it's decaffeinated, a lot of people say, hey, the caffeine, I hear that puts a lot of stress on the body, so I don't want to use caffeinated. The problem is the chemicals they use to strip the caffeine out of it are horrible. So if you're going to do decaffeinated, make sure you use the water method or the natural Swiss method of decaffeination. If you just use the chemical version, it's going to be much more toxic in many ways. And there's actually some research that the caffeine in it, believe it or not, I'm not pushing caffeine, but the caffeine in it might actually help prevent mold and other bacteria from growing on it while it's in the bag. So there's a lot to be said about that. So if you can handle the caffeine and you're getting good sources of organic beans, definitely I think you're going to be better off, but definitely don't get that stuff that's chemical reduced. Storage. How is it stored? Okay, obviously they're coming in bags, usually airtight, but as soon as you open it up and you expose it to air, that's going to basically start to cause the breakdown of that. The mold, spores, and things will start to want to grow more, and any bacteria will be even worse in there. So air, moisture, and light are some of the worst things that affect coffee. So a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. Unfortunately, there's lots of moisture in the refrigerator. So the problem with that is it's going to build up. And if you put it in the freezer, which is a good thing, put it in a resealable bag in some sense, okay? And then squeeze all the air out of that, because otherwise it's going to get moisture in there and trap the air in that. So it can basically, fresh from the roaster, be 1 to 2 weeks, most people would say. But as soon as, it's open and exposed to air and just left out, after 2 weeks, you're losing a lot of the good benefits in the coffee, and you're going to get a lot more of the detriments from it. So the duration you store, it's a big thing. Don't buy the huge 20-pound version. Just think you're saving a few bucks. You might save money, but you're going to hurt yourself in the process. Room temperature is okay, but keep it in an airtight container, and there's resealable containers that you can actually push out the air in those. That would be a fantastic option. But remember, those oils do go rancid, and that's very detrimental. A lot of cancer is caused by rancid oils in our culture, so that's one of the best things to try to avoid. How is it prepared? This is a huge thing. People use their K-cups. They love them because they got all these different flavors and stuff. Think about it this way. We know plastics in our culture are not exactly healthy, and unfortunately plastics mimic estrogenic compounds in our body. So when you heat up plastic, it releases that into whatever it's being released into. Challenge is you put boiling hot water through a K-cup, which is made of plastic, and you're basically pulling all of the plastic chemical compounds, BPA and things like that, into the liquid you're drinking. So it could even be organic, but it's in a plastic K-cup, not a good decision. So I recommend using, if you're gonna use a K-cup at all, get the stainless steel refillable ones. It's like a mesh material, and you can put your own coffee, which is going to be cheaper for you anyways, right in that, close it up and reuse it. Much better option for sure. French press is fantastic. Those glass French presses will extract a lot more of the coffee. The flavor usually is better through that. And then there's other methods as well, but just look at what you're using. Is it made of all plastic? If so, plastic is basically being leached from it every time the boiling water is going through it. Now the water quality is very important as well. Now many people drink filtered water from the refrigerator, and it's got some basic filter on it or a Brita, but when they make their coffee, they just go right over to the sink and you use regular water, and everything that's in your pipes, everything, all the chlorine that's in your city water and stuff is going right into that. So make sure it's filtered or clean source of water when you're using that. Otherwise you're going to be consuming that into the coffee. And the coffee filter as well, that's another thing. A lot of people don't realize it. Those really bleached white coffee filters, when you put your coffee in it and put your hot liquid right through that, it's going to leach out the chlorine into the stuff that you're drinking. And that's why on that side of the detriments, a lot of these things build up is because of the chemical compounds, not the coffee itself being the worst thing, but how it's prepared. Is it organic or not? And all those different things that we're talking about. This is one of the most important portions of this breakdown. Okay, so definitely choose better versions. And then how do you take your coffee? Now everybody asks that. You go to a restaurant, how would you like it? All right, black. All right, well, if it's black and it's organic and it's pretty freshly ground wherever you're getting it from, or you're storing it at home, great. You're not adding anything else to it. Not a bad way to do it. Now, especially with the keto movement, a lot of people are finding that actually adding cream or grass-fed cream or butter. Believe it or not, a lot of people freak out when you say add butter to your coffee, but basically that's what it is. If you look on a butter the ingredients, it basically says cream. All right, so if you don't get the salted version and you get grass-fed cream or butter and add that to it, it's absolutely the best thing to add. And in fact, the good fats in it help to slow down the irritation, I believe, from some of those acids that might be in the coffee. So definitely something you should consider. Now, a lot of people just add a little bit of cream into it. They could put that little white into it, but cream has more sugars in it and less fat. So actually, the fat has lots of flavor. So if you add at least a whole milk or something like that, it'd be better. Half and half, so a little bit higher amounts of fat. But I believe heavy cream, whipping cream even right into it's fantastic. Now, a lot of people get into creamer. All right, well, there's a lot of variety with creamer. Flip over the back of your creamer bottle and see what's in it. Is it regular creamer, just cream and natural vanilla flavor? Okay, probably okay. But if you get into the Franken creamer, the synthetic types of creamer, I really recommend throw that stuff away. Do not even finish it. Maybe you want that hazelnut flavor and stuff. Well, get the hazelnut oils and just add that in yourself, but do not buy the Franken creamers. Those things are awful. They have hydrogenated oils and synthetic ingredients and preservatives in it. They make a decent cup of coffee horrific. So definitely avoid that like the plague. All right, now how do you take it in terms of sweet? Well, if it's black, no big deal, but if you want to, some people can handle stevia. I don't like coffee flavor that much, believe it or not, but if I do it when I'm doing keto, I will actually have some keto or fat coffee. I'll use stevia as my sweetener. Some people think it has that bitter aftertaste and coffee's already bitter, so I think it's one of the best options health-wise. Honey or maple syrup, okay, better options, less processed, not going to have as much processing and the stripping and the removal of the nutrients that would be in those because they're not like the white processed sugar would be. Monk fruit, also a very up and coming winner here. A lot of people will add that to their coffee and it tastes pretty decent. Raw sugar, if you're going to have it, still have the sugar that's raw. It's still brown. It's got the nutrients in it. It's going to spike your blood sugar, yes, okay, but it's not going to be stripping as many nutrients out of your system because it's not going to be like the processed white sugar over there. Now, erythritol, xylitol, some of those sugar alcohols people will consume, a little bit better in the sense it doesn't cause blood sugar to spike, but they're a little bit more processed, so you just have to evaluate which way you want to go with those things. Now, when you get into the Splenda, the saccharin, the NutraSweet, those are awful. That's like the Franken creamer. They're just chemicals, so you're adding that into your coffee. These are the fastest ways to destroy any benefits that this side of the benefits page had to offer you. So please don't do that. I avoid anything like that in any food in my life, and I recommend that for all my patients as well. Please avoid those. Again, so quantity, quality, how do you take your coffee? Take a screen capture of this, look at it, evaluate what you're doing with your coffee. And that's going to help you decide a lot of things in terms of, okay, is coffee good for you or is it bad? It really is up to you. Okay, so if you can understand which types to consume, the quantity, yes, you may love coffee, I understand that, but kids love cookies. And if you're a good parent, you're not going to just let them have as many as they want. You give them one or two. If you're a grown adult, you can eat as much or drink as much as you want, but it doesn't mean you have liberty to just drink 2 pots of coffee because you like it. We have to make decisions. If you like it enough to just get you going in the day, or maybe you really like the flavor, so you have a cup in the morning and a cup in the afternoon, I recommend no more than about 2 cups on average per day for people. One's even better. But remember, a cup is 8 to 12 ounces. Really, a cup is 8 ounces. 16 ounces, 32, that's not a cup. That's getting into 4 cups. So, the size of what it is you're drinking has a lot to say about it, okay? So it is up to you whether coffee is good for you or bad. The choices you make has everything to do with it. So thank you for watching this. I know there was a lot of information in this video, but I hope it was helpful because over 200 million people consume coffee on a daily basis. It is the #1 food consumed in America. More than pizza, more than hamburgers, anything out there, because coffee is a bean. So you got to remember it is a food. So please, I implore you, share this with a friend or family member right now, okay? Because we know that your friends and family members are drinking this. Are they making good decisions? I believe if you're going to drink coffee, which so many people do, it is one of the easiest things to make simple changes in and still enjoy the thing that you love so much, but without having the detriments to your health. So please share it with your friends and family. And if you didn't earlier on, give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, and leave any comments below in terms of what else you'd like to say about coffee or anything else about health. We'd love to hear it. I appreciate you, watching this video, and hope you have a great day. And if you haven't already had one today, enjoy your cup of coffee. We'll talk to you soon.